2 of the Spine Chaos Beast. As you can see here, this is the completed creature right here, with Corinne giving him little walkies on the top here, walking around the neighborhood of Slaneshi land. And for this video, we're going to have the final construction of it. You can see finishing it off and the painting for it. And also something very new here. We have an Etsy page, which is down in the comments below. Not the comments. Did I say comments in Wellington?
You did say
I did say
comments.
comments. Okay, it's not in the comments. It's in the, what would you call that thing that's underneath the page there?
That's the description.
Oh, the description. So down in the description below, we'll have the new Etsy page put in there. So as for now, let's go take a plummet down the go-go hole. Painting time. Okay, first we're going to take off all the little bits here that we're going to put on toward the end separately. Take all the spines off, the Slaneshi symbol. Not the pimple popper. Get out. I got it. Got that blackhead out of there. Now, what I also did here was I used latex to cover the eyes, because I'm going to paint over it, then I'll peel it off when I'm done so that you can keep the original eye look on it. That's very good with glass eyes. I used this from Monsters Makers. I have a very old case of this. Now, here's the funny thing. This is way too good for this to be using to mask off the eyes, but it's what I had, so it's what I used. But this is some really great stuff and a little bit of overkill. Okay, let's take the top off now. The top's going to be painted separate. And I also added these little pieces in here and painted them up a gold color. I'm going to go over those with a transparent violet later. So for the beastie, when I usually paint flesh colors, I'm going to go for mainly a flesh, kind of like a Cenobite look, where it's a flesh color but with a lot of blue in it, a lot of blue tint. So basically, the undercoat's going to be all flesh. So first of all, I have a container of the thing I cannot pronounce here. Steinylrez. Okay, Steinylrez. So this is my favorite. That's my favorite primer to use through the airbrush, and I have a small container of it because the big one was running low and I wanted to keep a lot of air out of there. So this is going to be primarily what I'm going to use for the entire figure. And then I'm going to go over it with a few more base coats. So let's see, get the airbrush going here. This is the Workaholic. Now, since this is kind of old, I usually get... let me stick my arm in front of the camera. Great job there, Baragonis. I'm going to use, I want to filter it out because I got a lot of little chunks inside of it. So this material here is, I asked Mrs. Wreap, what do you call this stuff? Because she knows fabrics. And she said tutu material. So I guess that's the official name, is tutu material. So I'm going to stick the tutu material in there. Stick my finger in there, hold it on the side. Go, stay. And then I'm going to shake, da, 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 da. And add this to it. Let's add a little bloop, 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 bloop. And that'll get, whoa, that really is chunky. Well, I'm really being brave with this one. Wow, did any actually get in there? Okay, yeah, we did get some in there. But yeah, oh wait, that is way too chunky. But here, let's go for the figure. And it's already kind of having a hard time. There goes the motor, but. So this will be the main base coat. And this color here is called Neutral. This is Steinylrez Neutral color. They also make a primer in flesh, and I've got to buy that pretty soon. I like to get them from Black Hearts Models. I love that company. They do some amazing garage kits. Now, okay, here we go. Entirely covered with the primer base coat. Now I'm going to go over with some airbrush colors here. We have different shades of flesh colors. These are just basically, here's a pinkish one. These two are slightly different. I believe these ones here are Santa's flesh. Oh! What I do is basically that's pretty much, I'll mix this with some transparent airbrush extender to make my own airbrush paint. Now, I actually stink at it. 90% of the time I get it wrong. I think it's probably about like a 6-to-1 mix. 6 of this to 1. Mix it up, and then I run it through one of the tutu materials. And I filled up the bottle, and that's how I made my own homemade one. But if you could buy different shades of flesh, then that'll actually probably work better for you. Or you're probably better at me than mixing anyway, so you can give it a shot. Just don't do too much at once. Okay, let's start with this color. Mix up. And this is pretty old, so I'm going to do my tutu material trick. And just a couple of drops there. Da, da, da. And I'm just going to model it. I don't want to cover the whole thing. I just want to fill in. Something hard time going through there. Oh, there we go. Just do a model on it. Yeah, there it goes. As the compressor strains. There. Okay, I'm going to mix in the next color. Usually I would clean out the airbrush right now, but for the purpose of the video, I got to keep going. It's very subtle. You could barely make it out, but the model effect, mottling, it does work well with the finished product. And then lastly, maybe I can get lucky. Lastly, I'm going to hit it. This is a Santa Flesh with pink mixture. Should really clean it out, but we're on a time schedule here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Put this damn strainer on. Let's see if that clogged it. Oh no, okay. I got lucky with that one. Now for the pink, I'm going to go for. Let's go for like the mouth eye area, inside the lips, around the eyes. Places that would normally be a little bit more red. Red or pink-ish. It's very subtle. A little around the claws. Yeah, a little on the cheeks. Nice little rosy cheeks there. Okay, and a little more around the mouth. And left. Okay, and that's the end of that. Time to clean the brush out. For the next, I'll be doing modeling on it. Mottling, M-O-T-T-L-L something. How do you spell modeling?
Just say modeling.
Modeling. Okay, so the modeling effect. This is a this will go on next. Let's get the brushes nice and wet here. I like to get water all the way into the roots and then I dry it off again. This makes it easier to clean it in the long run. Now this trick here is a variant of what they used to have in an article in Model's Resource magazine. It was a great magazine back when garage kits were all over the place. Oh, those are the great days before McFarlane Toys came and killed the garage model kit industry. But okay, we're going to start with actually the darkest color. In this one here, we're going to use the four colors I usually use is Lisa Pink, that'll go on last. Gypsy Rose, these are all Delta Summer Coat, but you can see these are the basic, like a brownish pink, a lighter pink. This one's called Blue Heaven, that's a lighter blue. And sometimes for some projects I use Copen Blue, which is a darker blue. And I'll work on a small portion just so I don't have to like keep you here. Okay, take one of these stiff oil brush type paint brushes. And I'm just going to do a little at a time, so I'll put a little. Oh boy, that was way too much. But I just want to get a little bit on the brush because it's going to be a model effect. Sometimes I'll go on the bottom just. Okay, get it right where about I want it. Let's work right about here. And all the flesh of this creature will be done in this way. And once it's complete, I'm going to seal it. Then it's going to get a gel coat over it. Then sealed again. And then after that, I'm going to airbrush transparent flesh color over it. But okay, so you don't want to cover the whole thing. I'll do a little bit at a time. Okay, there's the first. Now, oh, and also I keep a smaller one too, because there's going to be spots you're going to have a very hard time hitting. So let me just, I can do it. Great. Places you can't get in with a larger brush. Like I said, I'm only going to do a little section at a time. Yeah, clean the brush off. Okay, so we're going to start pretty much from dark to lighter. Here's Gypsy Rose. And we're going to what this does is it very subtly gives it a transparent flesh look. At least the best you can. And the final color is going to be pink, is the Lisa pink, which in this case, I'm not going to use the detail brush on it. I'm going to get this, the Lisa pink will just go right on the surface. Doesn't have to go into the deep recesses, because it's a much lighter color. Just want to get a little dot, that's... a little too much on the brush there. Okay, now in this case, there's a few spots I got a little too heavy, so I'm going to go back with a flesh-based color in this case. Santa Flesh! Whoa! Santa Flesh! And just very, very little. Let's see where I got a little bit, just a little dab. Try to... just to get it where it went on a little too heavy, just to even it out. Now when it's all done, it'll look like, okay, we have an example here I've been working on. Here's a Death God Scorpius tank. So that would be what the whole figure would look like at this stage when it's completely covered. And of course I didn't hit anything like the World Wooden Guns or anything like that. The stippling is now complete. Here's over the entire figure. We've done the stippling. The next step I did was I sprayed it with a sealer, satin clear. Already done. Ah! All over the camera lens. Oh, there goes that camera. Okay, so I let that, that's been drying, that dried for a few days, so the longer it dries, the better. The next step is we're going to do a glazing. Now for the glazing, for more bang for your buck, I use this stuff here, the Modern Masters Tintable Glaze. Now this comes clear. What I do is I go to my hardware store when I get this, and I also have them have some pigment. Now this is, well, it's black pigment in black and red, but you mix the pigment in with it until you get an even color, even black color. It's you have to kind of experiment the way you want it. And I stored it in this one. In Giuliano's stuffed olives. Oh, there we go. What we do is get this open. Okay, this is going to be a bit messy. Maybe I should put a glove on. Ah, these nice vinyl gloves here. These were provided by my friend Eric.
The Puppet Master!
Prince! Okay, so I'm going to dab it in, and this is the consistency of it here. Now, I'm covering the whole thing. Now, this is going to get wiped off. I want to fill it into the crease, all the little nooks and crannies. So this is the black, and I don't have to worry about it drying too soon. This takes several hours to dry. And I also like to mix it up a little bit too, because I also took the same mixture. I mixed it with some blue tint and some brown. Now here's the brown. Some blue and brown. Let me get a palette out here. And I kind of just modeled this in. Mottle. M-O-T-T-L-E. Did I spell that right? Mottle. You're the smart
Close
one.
enough.
You're the smart one, Wellington. You should know this. Okay, so we got the blue and brown, and I'm just going to mix it in here and there. Just I always like to spice it up a little bit. Get some blues in there, get some browns. Probably have my arm in front of it again like I usually do every video. And this is pretty thick. I'm going to do a little dab of water in there too. This is a little overly thick here. Get all the nooks and crannies. A nice stiff brush here, one of those oil brush types. A little water there, and a little blue. Okay, once you have it everywhere, there goes my lunch. Okay, take a paper towel or some likely derivative, and you keep it in the nooks and crannies and you wipe it off. Give it one quick one first. And I'm going to also that. And sometimes I'll wet it a little bit if I need to. I really want it to show. Get inside there. And what works good inside in here? A Q-tip. Yes, I'll also take a Q-tip and go inside and get the little detailed pieces. And if I took off too much, I might go back and stipple it a little bit and then go back over it lightly till I get it the way I like it. Okay, wipe it down. Here's my arm in the way again. My beautiful hands, aren't they beautiful? Aren't they lovely? Isn't he lovely? La 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 la. Okay, let's proceed on going. And here's our little critter here, complete. And okay, here's the Q-tip effect. A couple of spots there. Okay. And now I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to give this a good time to dry. This glazing takes about at least 2 days to dry. I keep it under a fan, makes it go a little bit faster. And once it's done, I'm going to spray it with sealant. For the hat piece, I want to keep the original colors in there, as you can see, but I want to give it a slightly purple look. So for here we have the Diodazine Purple, transparent. And I'm going to go over very lightly. As a matter of fact, I bought the airbrush with paint down to... Oh, there we go. Now this is a newer bottle, so I don't really need to strain it. I hope I don't need to strain it. But I bought the airbrush pressure down to about 15 pounds of pressure. Before it was on 40, because it's a pretty old airbrush. So I'm just going to give it... So I don't want to completely coat it. I want to keep that original color in there. So it's just, as they say, transparent. Gotta hit it from all the different angles too, because it has all the nooks and crannies like a Thomas English muffin. Okay, so you can see it's kind of We're getting there. It has that Flaneshy look. Flaneshy is very purple and gold and silver. Let's see a few spots I missed. Right inside there. Okay, that's good for now. I might go back a little bit later on the finished product, might add a little bit extra airbrush paint, maybe some shading gray in there, maybe a little bit more purple, but that's good right now for until the next step. Starting with the airbrush, we're going to hit the highlights here. And this is going to be done in the Garage Kit USA Light African Flesh. And we're only going to do this in the highlights. So let's see, we got the eyebrow a little heavy. I got to go a little bit lighter. Around the ears. All the raised areas. Okay, the next step here, we're going to give him a bluish color. Blue and gray are very Slaneshi. So we have transparent flower blue green shade. This is a blue shade here this is a transparent, but it's still a little bit too heavy. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to mix it with some of the airbrush transparent extender, and that's going to weaken it a little bit and make it a lot lighter. So let's see, I gotta try to do a guess on this. Maybe that much will do the entire figure. And let's maybe opening it would help, yes. Or just squeeze it till it shoots out of the back like a caulking gun. Okay, let's take that and I'm going to go a little lighter with it. I'm going to put a how's that look? Well, that still looks pretty powerful. Okay, I'm going to cut a few more drops, so. Okay, let's try that. It's nice and mixed up. And clean that out. Try a little drop in there. I'm going to start with the back in case it's not to my liking. I can better chance. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm going to cover the whole figure. Going to keep the airbrush back a little bit and well, that is a good mix, okay. Once in a while I just fire the air button and there's just a little bit of, sometimes a little crap gets on the tip. Okay, starting with the tongue color from Garage Kits USA. This one wasn't transparent. I mixed it with the aforementioned medium in my own little bottle there to get it more transparent. We're just going to do inside the ears and inside the mouth. So just a very light pink color in there. Get a little bit on the lips. Very lightly. Okay, next here we're going to use a transparent golden quinacria. What the hell is that?
Just say red.
I don't. Okay, the Q red. We're going to go with Q red on here. Why do they do this to me?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to go more around the mouth. So a few shots there. This time I'm going to go around the eyes. So try to keep it. Okay, maybe a little, we still have some left, a little shot in the ears. This is a tiny, 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 tiny shot of the red. Okay, and I'll just dump the rest right there in the mouth. Go for the center in the mouth and just dump it right in there. All the nooks and crannies like Thomas's English muffins. Except when they put raisins. Why do they have to put raisins in Thomas's English muffins? I'll never know. You totally ruined it.
Just ruin a good thing.
Seriously. Okay, there we go. Next we have, oh no, here we go again. Diozanozino. What? Why is Golden doing this to me? Why? Can't you just say like dark purple? No, it's whatever the hell.
Try dioxazine.
Dioxazine. Okay, we're going to go with dioxazine purple, transparent. And we're going to put that over here and go away. Nasty thing, go away. Okay, we're going to a smaller circle around the eye. And don't forget, that's going to get peeled back with the latex, so it'll just be on the outskirts of it. And a little one there, and let's see, around the mouth, maybe the darkest recesses of the ear. And center of the mouth. And a little bit around the lips. Okay, finally one's easy to pronounce here. We have transparent rosé. Rosé, like
that's rose.
Rose is not like the wine. It's not like rosé.
No, it's not Baragonis. It's rose.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it. Oh, look how clean this is. Oh, is Eric Prince watching out there? Look how clean that is. He just loves clean bottles, don't you? Look at it, Eric. Look at it. Oh, it looks like a clown threw up on it. Okay, there's a drop of that. And this one here, I'm going to finish off. Okay, a little bit on the outskirts of the eye. I'm going to go wider in the eye with this one. Fill that whole area in. And up, need another drop. We're going to put another drop in there. And then let the rest dribble down all over the cat. Isn't it beautiful, Eric? Isn't it beautiful? Okay, we'll finish off with the lips here. Next we go to transparent skull red. Skull red, crude and unspeakably plain. I think he killed the Lion King. Well, I don't know. I was rooting for him. He was he was the villain. I got to root for the villains. Besides, Symbol was like such a slacker. Okay, these are going to go right into the darkest recesses of the reds. Dark and scary. So just a very slight around the eyes. Very slight around the like right in, deep. Okay then. Just fire the rest right down there. They're clear? Okay. And that's it for the reds. Okay, lastly what we're going to do here is I'm going to paint in all the recessed areas here very lightly with transparent paint. So we'd have like, anywhere where you would want it to be darker. And for this I'm going to use two colors. I'm going to start with raw umber hue. That's a very good one from the Golden again. Oh, thank you for making it readable. And then here's another one for Eric Prince here. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? Shading gray. This will be the shading gray. So first the umber and then shading gray. They'll be put one on top of each other. Okay, the umber was done, and this is just the very last. I've went over here with the shading gray, and I'm just finishing this off. So here's the final. You can see all the recesses I hit with both the colors. I hit it mostly with the umber, and then toward the center more, I hit it with the shading gray. Okay, we're going to start with the dry brushing. Okay, so this is pretty much, let's make this video go fast. So most of this has already been done. The first thing I took was taupe. Did I say that right? Taupe, T-A-U-P-E, some taupe, and I did a dry brush over the whole figure. Just make believe I, did the thing, you dip it in, wipe it off, and then you get the light color in there. I did that for all of the blue color, and including some around the lips right there, for the entire figure. That was the first dry brush, and that was followed by Santa Flesh, a light flesh color. That was then done over it very lightly. So, okay, then the next step after that was I painted the tongue. What I did is I started with Rose Antique. This is, you can see it's kind of a like a ruddier pink color. And I originally put one coat of this on, then I recoated it, and I mixed it with some light pink. Light pink, I started from the tips right there and worked my way back a little and just blended it in a little bit. And once that dried, am I going too fast here? Well, you know, it'll be a quicker video this way. Once that was fully dry, I took Citadel shade Carol Burnt Crimson. God, why can't they make easier words for me? I don't have the vocabulary for this sort of stuff. And I covered it with that. Now what this does is this is like a wash. It's like a wash shade. When you put it on, it fills into all the cracks, and you know, once in a while you have to kind of wipe it a little bit cleaner, and it fills into all the detail right there. I let that dry, and the final step for that was back to the dry brush again. And the dry brush was with Pink Cadillac, a very, very light pink, which is Pink Cadillac. It's sort of a metallic. And then covered with gloss. So that takes care of the tongue right there. The teeth were covered with white first as a base coat, and then just regular ivory. Ivory was used. We're going to show the next step into that after because we're going to have to blemish it a little bit. Not too much, because this is a Slanesh model, and they're very pristine creatures. They're not like Nurgly, where they're all infected and yucky. These ones are very highfalutin, so that'll be the ivory there. The ivory was also used to coat the claws right here at first, and once that dried, I went over it with actually transparent. This is transparent airbrush paint, which is the fellow green blue shade, but I did it with a brush. I didn't do it with an airbrush, so that was painted over it. And then finally, I did a dry brush on that. Once that dried, a very slight dry brush of patina color, which is a very close cover. So the patina was done on the tips right there. So that takes care of the claws. Then you have the very strange tongue-like crawling apparatus down here. What that was done with was this right here. This is a Citadel contrast color. And what contrast does is it's really neat. You paint it in, and it kind of flows into the spots you want it to. You can wipe it down a little bit, and it really gives it like very much dimension to it. So that was originally painted in that. And then there was a dry brush. We went back to Pink Cadillac. Back to Pink Cadillac. Right there. Okay, and for next, let's show how we're going to do the base. The base was done with a I simply took a burnt umber. And you can color the bases any way you want, whatever color your Demon Army is on. They're all different colors, but I was just going to make a rocky base. So we have the burnt umber right here. And this part I didn't get to yet, so I'll do it right now. And this is a good example of the dry brush. Okay, I'm going to use this. Is called Creekstone. Just a little dry brush of Creekstone right here. So, as I mentioned before, in case you didn't know what dry brush is, you probably definitely know what dry brush is, but dry brush, I'll put a little bit down there. Get a little bit on the brush, and then I wipe it down. Sometimes I cheat and I use my dry brush wart. Okay, so that's pretty good. Make sure you get yourself a dry brush wart. And as you can see, you just very lightly. Oh, that came on kind of heavy. Don't use your hand. I'm undead, so that doesn't bother me. But you could use a piece of cardboard, or actually one of the best things is a piece of tile. The back end of a piece of tile works very good. And that's the dry brush method I was talking about. And we'll just do the whole figure. I'll get back to the whole figure, actually. Let me just give you the basic idea. So that'll be the dry brush part. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with the base. It's not very much base showing right there, so I'm not really going to worry about getting too detailed in that. Okay, let's see. For the next step, let's finish the teeth off. So for that, I'm going to use Seraphim Sepia. This is a shade from Citadel. This is a wash color. Shake it up. Da, 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 da. Oh, I also have my very special, because these love to spill and cost you tons of money. I took a 1-inch coupling, and I think I'll do a video on that, how I made this. It's real simple. A 1-inch coupling cut, it fit in there perfectly. And you pop it open, and it just wants to shut on you, so I took a piece of ABS plastic and just put it in the open position for now. Okay, gonna wet the brush a little bit and clean it off. And I'll start with the big one. Put it on there, and I'm just gonna get that over there. Try to get it heavier on the bottom and lighter on the top. Try to get it to pool on the bottom. And I'm even going to dry the brush off a little bit and take some off the top. And I'll go over it after I'm done. I want to keep it very light, so I'm going to go over it. And you see, it's starting to dry right now, so you kind of got to work fast with it. I might go back a little bit. I might take the original color of ivory, add a little white to it, and just dry brush the tips. But that is, okay, I'll finish this up. Mixing up the epoxy here, I set the from the previous video, I showed how these were made. So I'm going to epoxy these in. Called the Spine Chaos Beast. Let's see, that went. Get that in there hard, nice and tight. That's the 5-minute epoxy, 2-part. Okay, I think can I bring these forward a little bit and bring these ones. Okay, yeah, I like that going up a little bit, a little mustachioed right there. And I'm also putting the top on, so I'm going to get the rest of the epoxy and okay, let me move this out of the way. Here's as poor Wellington's going nuts here, trying to not take the entirety of the back of my hand for the rest of the video as I try to get this nice and epoxied on the inside. Uh-oh, we lost the light. I'm blind. Okay, no luck with that? Oh well, here we go. Here we go, we're just going to mount this on the top. Nice and hard in there. Center. Okay, and we're going to let that dry. And just might have to do a few little wipe ups here and there to clean that up. Okay, let there be light. We got the light back working. It looks like the adapter took a crap on it. But here we go. So that's all in there. So cleaning around the eyes. And I remember before, in the other video, we covered it with latex before we painted it. So I'm just going to take this skewer here and get that peeled off. Maybe work on the outside of it. Try to cut a little opening there. Get it nice and loose. And then take this fingernail, scratch that off. Try to grab it and scratch it and reveal the eyeball underneath it. I didn't want to be painted, so. Almost forgot the two spines on the bottom. I got those in at the last second. Okay, so we're all cleaned off here. Now, that's a wooden dowel. I wouldn't have to do this if it was glass, but I still have some epoxy left. Just to brighten it up, just to give it a more glassy look. I'm going to cover this with the remaining bits of the epoxy very quickly because it's setting up very fast. So that'll give it some depth. Ah! Okay, so I've got a little bit left. I'm just going to add a little bit of drool in the mouth. Right about there. Give him a little... Oh, the little puppy's drooling. Drooly puppy, drooly puppy. There we go. There's a little bit of drool so I don't... Because I'm so cheap, I don't want to waste any of this. I'll just hit that eye right there. A little swirly, and there we go. Okay, the piece for the head, we're going to dry brush this. This is going to go right between the eyes, a little decorative part. And that's being done in Liquitex and Anti-Q Gold. And that's a very, very heavy dry brush. There's a word for that, I forgot the name of it. Do you know what it is, Wellington?
I do not.
Okay, we'll call it the heavy dry brush. Heavy, heavy dry brush. They invented a word. Okay, there we go. One quick one color. Okay, here we mixed up the two-part. This is from the last video, if you remember. We used a lot of this. This was the AV's Epoxy Sculpt, and I added some black pigment to it to give it a nice black color. I'm going to stick that in there. Now the reason I'm doing it this way, instead of using the epoxy, like I did with the spines on it, is because I made the hole a little bit wider, and I want it to fit perfect, exactly where I want it. So it gives me a bit of leeway there. Back a little. Okay, yeah, that's good. And I'm going to take a little tool and just press that in a bit. And once that dries, I'm going to go back over it with the one color that I used before to give it the dry brush around that area. And just finagle that a little bit, just to get it to blend a little bit more. And we're back to, up here, we're back to Corinne again. Yeah, she's back from the warp. So what I did is I took the wire that I had in the last video and I kind of twirled it to give it something to mount onto. Put her down here, and we're going to put the rest of it to this area. Okay, we filled in the area here, and I just gave it a little bit, for detail, I'm just going to use this little round bally thing to give it little indents. Okay, so the Corinne base, okay, I took the wire, I wrapped it up in some more of this, and we're going to place that in there and work it in. Let's get her claws over the edge here, she'll look better that way. And push that down. Okay, and then just clean that up and work that in. And now Corinne's ready to take the puppy for walks. So here we go. I'm probably, once that dries, I'll probably go back over that and just give it a little dry brush of maybe something like, I don't know, GP purple. That could work. I might experiment with it a little bit enough, but okay, that worked out well for the base. And over here for the gems, let's give it, I'm going to grab some transparent True Red, which is actually an airbrush paint, but I'm going to brush paint it on, just to give it a little more flair. Woo! Make that pop a little bit more. Whoops, I almost forgot. And lastly, for the skull base right here, we started with Army War Paint. We had Skeleton Bone was originally put down. Then it was followed by Seraphim Sepia. That would be the shade here. A wash of that. Then just a little bit of Agrax Earthshade. And once that dried, it was finally dry brushed with Buttercream. It also could have been dry brushed with the Ivory, but I made it a little bit slightly off from the teeth. So that completes the skulls right there. And I believe that's the end of our video. Yay!